buku different people from different
Boy, you've
areas.
been down here a long time. You're using buku now.
Yeah,
All right, guys, thanks for joining us today on the Elation podcast, where we enjoy exhilarating euphoria through creation and collaboration. Today, we are here with Joel Hitchcock. How are you?
Fantastic. How you doing?
Good, good. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to get into all kinds of topics today, but let's just start with where you're from and the origin story, and then we'll go from there.
Dope. I'm from the tropical paradise of Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh, wow.
Originally, yeah.
Wow, lots of palm trees.
Yeah, at the botanical gardens. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so born and raised in Milwaukee, came down to New Orleans a little bit before Katrina.
Just traveled right down the Mississippi?
Basically.
Yeah.
And then I've been here ever since.
Gotcha.
So I originally came to go to school, and 3 weeks later, Katrina hit. And I've been here since.
Wow. Okay. So school for what?
What did I go to school for?
Hey, what did it didn't matter anymore?
Originally for education. I'd always wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
I ended up getting a degree, a major in Spanish and history, and a minor in education. I ended up not doing my last semester of student teaching. Instead, I just worked as a permanent sub at Warren Easton. I figured it'd be better to get paid instead of not getting paid.
Imagine that,
to teach
right?
someone else's lesson plan.
Imagine that.
And it worked out. I then got hired at Easton even without, and post-Katrina New Orleans, they were a little bit laxed about not having
I wonder why.
all the teaching degrees up to, so. But yeah, it worked out great. Xavier was a blessing, and I'm still here.
That's awesome.
So.
Spanish. What? Just question. Why?
I happen to already speak Spanish.
Okay.
And so Xavier was dope. Accepted my AP, I think it's called AP, in high school credits, and I had taken some college courses in high school in Wisconsin, in the tropical paradise of Milwaukee.
Oh, bueno, because there's all kinds of Spanish-speaking people up there jumping across the Mississippi,
You'd be actually surprised. So Milwaukee is, for better and for worse, the most segregated city in the country.
Okay.
Ahead of Boston, which is negative for obvious reasons, but also is great because it a lot of communities are able to maintain a sense of identity and
together.
Culture.
Yeah.
And so the south side of Milwaukee is not all, but largely Hispanic and largely Mexican and largely from the city of León, Guanajuato. Stop me if any of this is.
Listen, I speak un poquito, okay? I spent a lot of time in the South and in the Caribbean islands and stuff, so I learned by using, I took Spanish too in high school, but I learned by using more, and I also fished for ESPN2 for a while, and we traveled, everywhere we traveled spoke Spanish, so like different dialects, obviously, but, Venezuela and, Panama and what was the obviously Puerto Rico, but Dominican, it was just everywhere, Spanish.
Yeah.
So I learned. I always said to myself, I know enough Spanish to get myself in and out of jail.
Okay. That's pretty important.
Yeah. Right.
And so yeah, Milwaukee historically had been a leather tanning city.
Okay.
And León, Guanajuato is the leather tanning capital of the world. So there was a lot of exchange, people coming up for work from León, Guanajuato. And I happened to have a good amount of family through marriage in León, Guanajuato.
Gotcha.
So growing up, our aunties would send our cousins to come stay with our family and learn English. And then I'd learn Spanish, not in any formal way, but just like our cousin, we're cool. We're 12 years old, having fun, playing soccer.
Gotcha.
And so the base of my Spanish is like 13-year-old Mexican street Spanish. Subsequently, I learned literary Spanish after going to school and whatnot.
I gotcha.
But
so what's your heritage?
I am Belarusian Jew, so Eastern European. My grandfather came over from Belarus during the Holocaust, and posted up in Milwaukee.
Gotcha. So they didn't speak Spanish.
No, senor. But my great grandpa, this might be apocryphal, but spoke 14 languages.
Wow.
Yeah. So I never met him.
I always
so
thought Europeans were smarter than we were anyway.
I think most people in most countries are.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy when my kid says "Cómo estás?" I can't push it past that because we're American, So, but at the same time, like I do believe I've dated a couple European girls, like they knew Spanish before they were getting or they knew multiple languages before they got to high school, and I feel like they definitely push. But in Europe, they do that on reason because you can speak multiple languages in Europe. So like, Italy is right there, so I feel like they teach it more for a reason.
Adesso sono imparando Italiano. I'm actually learning Italian now. My lady and I are headed to Italy in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I've been teaching myself for the last 4 months. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay. All right. Well, what's great about Spanish, Italian, and a lot of these languages is they all kind of have the same.
Amen, brother.
Starting points.
Yeah.
And that's honestly that's why I always felt like Portuguese is probably one of the better languages to learn because you truly have a blend of everything.
Right.
With Portuguese.
So it's learning Italian has been equally frustrating, fascinating, interesting. But so I happen to speak Spanish and Portuguese. I lived in Brazil for 7 months when I was younger.
So Italian can't be too hard for you.
So it's fascinating. In some ways, overall, yes, it is easier having that base. Some things do kind of trip you up because you think, oh, this is how it's done.
Right.
But having that there's a lot like the concentric circles of languages. So there's, like you said, overall they share that Romance language base.
Right.
And it's cool to have the Spanish background and the Portuguese, and like overall that definitely has helped with Italian for sure.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say Romance because those are like the sexiest languages you can imagine.
There you go.
So,
Although not with the gringo accent.
Well, the Milwaukee will always come out.
There you go.
That's funny. Well, so school was what brought you down here, huh? And then, so what kept you here?
Yeah, so school is what brought me down, kind of. I mean, yes, I got a scholarship here. That was a blessing. Xavier was dope. But the reason New Orleans, and this will kind of tie into later what we may talk about with my relationship with Raj Smoove and Smoove Fest, is growing up, before I became passionate about reggae music, I was all about Cash Money.
Gotcha.
And just New Orleans hip hop in general. And so I remember, growing up, listening to Juvenile. I used to be RTA bound. I'm like, what the hell is that? And I get down here, like, oh, it's the bus system.
I get it.
And so really, I just had, and I promised myself wherever I went to school would have a Six Flags. And before Katrina, at least.
Yeah, we did have a Six Flags. It was more like a 4.5 Flags, but we still had it. It was branded Six Flags anyway, But like everything else, we kind of ruined it. But it was actually a fun little park.
Yeah, little park.
It was a fun little park. Yeah, no. But I feel like it was more fun to shoot on, like, for filming afterwards as like a rundown, like, amusement park. I felt like it was almost better suited for that.
Did you go in there?
So funny enough, I did go in there since it had been shut down. It was for a film that we're filming, and I had a friend that was dealing with stuff, so I ended up going and like kind of participating in it, and it was eerie.
Did you go during the day or at night?
It was during the day.
Oh, okay.
It was during the day.
But eerie.
I would have loved to do it during the night, honestly. But yeah, definitely eerie was what it was. But that's funny. Six Flags. That's funny. I miss that. I miss that era down here.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that Katrina took away from us. But it's funny how the little things, you're like, well, how come it never came back?
Yeah. Yeah, well, especially in the East. I mean, it's something. I know they've been trying to rebrand it or redevelop it, but
they keep trying. They keep trying. I think Anthony Mackie tried to do some stuff with it for a while, and that fell through. And like, I don't know. It's the East. What can you say? You know,
Heard that.
when you grow up here, you can say that. This is the East. What are you gonna say? You know, you drive fast on the highway for a reason when you're passing the East. But anyway, well, so tell me about what happened after Katrina. What progressed into what you're doing now?
So feel free to cut me at any point. But after Katrina, I went to Seattle for a bit, University of Washington. Two of my cousins, actually from Mexico, had just got up there, overstayed their visa, and were working up there. And so I ended up walking on and got a track scholarship at University of Washington. Had delusions of making the Olympics.
Gotcha.
And which big conference, Division One. I had teammates who were silver medalists, gold medalists. Our coach was a 3-time gold medalist, PhD in kinesthesiology. The gym, the weight room, we had all of our meals pre-prescribed, our calories. Like, it was insane. We're just treated like a piece of meat, an expensive piece of meat.
Right.
And so it was a great experience. I then tore my hamstring, which at the time was a bummer, but looking back was a blessing. And Xavier, that was just 2 months in. Xavier maintained my scholarship. And so I came back here in December 2005 and been here since.
Gotcha.
So then,
where did music come in?
So my father is a professional jazz and blues piano player.
Okay.
He loves coming down. He comes down
I
many
bet.
times a year.
Yeah.
He gigs here in New Orleans, different places. My brother is a touring reggae keyboard player.
Okay.
My other brother played trombone and trumpet. My sister played violin. My mother classical piano.
It's in your blood then.
Yes, not my blood though. It skipped me. So growing up, my father tried to teach me piano, fail. He would bribe me with like basketball cards and whatnot. He tried to teach me the saxophone, trumpet, harmonica, djembe. Everything was a fail. And looking back, it was such a wasted opportunity. One, my dad is a sweetheart. He's dope. As a teacher, he's great. Every night he would, work stuff out on the keyboard for 3 hours a night. And for me, it was just like, I don't want to do this.
Right.
It was just right here.
Yeah.
So looking back, bummer and squandered opportunity. But I think it kind of just soaked in through osmosis in terms of my love and appreciation for music.
Absolutely. You can't be around all that and not absorb it.
There you go. And so going to college was dope, just in terms of like me coming from up north, coming from the Midwest, coming down south, just buku different people from different
Boy, you've
areas.
been down here a long time. You're using buku now.
Yeah, some things have seeped in for sure.
Speak French too, huh?
And so yeah, just all those different musical genres that I'd never heard of, as an 18-year-old out of Milwaukee. Chopped and screwed music from Houston.
Right.
And also, luckily, my older brother he had traveled to New Orleans a couple times before I had moved down here. So he had put me on Rebirth brass band way back in the day. And the Meters, my first ever album when I was like 8 years old was a Funky Meters album, talking about going down to Audubon Zoo. So some of these like iconography of New Orleans had kind of seeped in as well. And so getting down here, just soaking all that up. Plus, you can't be in New Orleans and not engage in music.
No, 100%.
But for me personally, reggae music was and is pretty much my focus, like old school roots reggae, and which is.
I was going to say, so first of all, I love reggae, okay?
Yeah.
But especially going back to fishing on ESPN, one of, you have iconic moments in music that may be only specific to you, and then you try to explain those moments, but it never really, transfers, but reggae has been in multiple moments for me some very big moments in my life where I look back and I just had the best time in the
Dope.
world, and I spent 6 months in Jamaica working on a boat and mating on a boat, and I was probably 17-ish,
Oh, wow.
somewhere around there. And you know, after you finish working, it's whatever you want to do, you know? So like I was 17, a little drunk getting off the boat, decided I was going to go to this bar.
Just drunk?
Just,
You
you
were
know.
in Jamaica.
Yeah, you know, smoking whatever. But at the same time, like, eating mushrooms. But, you know, it was a moment in time. I was by myself, went out to this reggae bar by myself, knew nobody, and I'm sitting in the front of the stage, and this girl comes on and performs Shaggy's Angel.
What?
And it's like, it was like one of the most iconic moments of my life that I reminisce to multiple times in my life. And reggae, I feel like, has that moment more in time than most.
So reggae for me means a lot, but I feel like for everybody, even if I've heard a lot from people like, oh, I don't like reggae, it all sounds the same. But I've never experienced someone at a reggae concert, at a reggae festival, listening to reggae who's not enjoying themselves, having a good time.
Mm-mm.
They might not put it on in the car while they're alone or whatever else, which to each their own. But I feel like it's one type of music that really transcends genres and races and ages.
Listen,
and all
I
that.
sing Three Little Birds with my kids every night.
Hell yeah.
Before they go to bed. Every night.
Nice.
Every night. And because, number one, it was my dad's favorite song. You know, my dad passed, so that's my little thing I give back to them. But you know, there is definitely a blend of cultures when it comes to reggae, and most people don't understand. You know, and even though it came from a certain culture, it was not meant for them. It was meant for whoever wants to enjoy it. And that's what I love about reggae.
And a beautiful tie to New Orleans is the beginnings of reggae music with Rocksteady and Mento. That a lot of the influence came from the radio waves from New Orleans. Jelly Roll Morton, Fats Domino,
Right.
going over there. And a lot of the original Rocksteady, Mento Calypso songs that turned into reggae were covers of New Orleans R&B.
Absolutely.
So it's a really dope kind of connection with
Absolutely.
With New Orleans.
Well, and we have the Haitian culture down here, and I mean, my grandfather spoke Creole French, so like, you know, like the culture is just blended down
Northernmost
here.
city in the Caribbean, baby.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you.
Except
Listen,
for Milwaukee.
Wait, except for Milwaukee, yeah, right up to Mississippi. But what's so funny is my heritage actually goes back to Gene Lafitte the Pirate.
Whoa.
Yeah, so my and there's still some Chickazolas around. My great uncle was Nat Chickazola, who was Gene Lafitte the Pirate's first mate.
Wow.
So I'm directly related, and like, so I always call New Orleans the Pirate City, and Pirate City is also reggae. Like, you know, like there we were a part of the Caribbean, even though we're kind of far away from it, but I just felt like for some reason they felt like they could. I mean, I guess it started with the pirates being able to come up the Mississippi and hide from whoever they were hiding from.
There you go.
You know, so I guess, you know, and the pirates spent enough time in the Caribbean, they just brought all that culture with them.
Yeah.
You know, but I love that city I love this city for that reason. We're just the ultimate pushback to society. Like we are I'm gonna do what I want to do city and get away with it.
That was one of for me as a 18-year-old coming down here, one of the fascinating things, especially post Katrina, how it was in many ways lawless isn't the right word.
No,
but,
open.
Open. There you go.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting to be a part of and witness the changes for better and for worse over the last 2 decades. And yeah, it's been a fascinating ride.
One of the best things we do as a culture is accept people. I don't think most cultures do that. We accept people from other cultures. We want you to bring your thing down here so that we can learn from it and have fun with it. Like, we really want that, but we also want you to enjoy our culture.
Right.
So I just feel like there's an openness to what we have that most cultures don't have.
That's real, especially in the United States.
I agree. Yeah, 100%. So let's talk about these festivals. What happened? How did you start producing festivals? I mean, because it's not an easy gig. producing festivals. I mean, I've done some live events in my life. It ain't easy.
Yeah, it's a lot of personalities to deal with. How did I? So I started DJ. Oh, this will hopefully tie things together. So I started DJing.
Okay.
There was just not a. I was passionate about reggae music, and there wasn't a lot of it in the city. So T-Roy, shout out to T-Roy, had been holding it down for years. Bayou International, before Katrina at Shiloh, and continuing at the Dragon's Den, the Blue Nile. But it was a lot more kind of dancing music, dance hall, up tempo. And so I was really passionate about old school roots reggae music. And gospel reggae, essentially, Old Testament reggae. And so I started DJing.
Were you techniques or were you CDs?
So I, fortunately for me, came in late enough in the game where I could use a controller.
Got you. All right.
There's a famous reggae artist, Maccabee, was a song entitled 45, which is basically, if you're not spinning 45s, you can't call yourself a DJ. So
I had 1200 techniques. I spent, but I was hard. I was heavy house, like techno.
Okay.
Like I was on a bunch of drugs. Like just that's where it was at. But I read the needle. Nice. I knew where it was at.
So it's also interesting being in New Orleans, a DJ in New Orleans, like nightlife. Being someone who doesn't drink or smoke in that environment was always very interesting.
Right? Yeah, I bet.
Especially, so I started DJing free events. Just trying. One, I just wanted to hear music that I enjoyed on a dope sound system.
Right.
And it was cool that other people were also digging it. Things kind of started to grow. A promoter had seen me and then brought me. I started. I was DJing 6 nights a week, including some of the nights on Bourbon Street, which is also wild. Not drinking or anything. And
yeah, I can't imagine.
And so things kind of grew. And this is actually, I was teaching at Warren Easton, going to grad school at Xavier for an MAT, Masters of Arts in Teaching, and DJing 6 nights a week, while also coaching soccer at Warren Easton and the former Lusher. Wow. So it was a busy year.
Wow.
And in so doing, I started, a promoter had saw me. It was a promoter from Baton Rouge in Texas. Shout out Olu. And he had asked me to collaborate with him for a show. And we brought Mr. Vegas, this big dance hall artist, to the Howlin' Wolf. And
we just had Howie.
Oh, really?
He was just here.
Nice.
He was the last guest.
Yeah. We actually, he also manages Rebirth.
Yep.
And so we booked Rebirth for last year. They did like a brass reggae set for the NOLA Reggae Fest. And so Howie's awesome.
Yeah.
So started doing, so that show was a huge success. And then from there, started doing some shows at Club Caribbean, Capleton, Kaimani Marley, Barrington Levy, all these big reggae artists. And
I love Kamani, by the way.
Hell yeah. Yeah. He's dope. He's dope. Yeah. And considering the level of success in his name and everything, relatively chill.
Agreed. No, 100%. No, and actually, the Marleys are all over the place. In LA, I worked with one of his grandsons, cool. Bob Marley's grandson. He was Damon's son.
Okay.
Not with Lauryn Hill, but
that's anyways. Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, they're all over the place, man. They're musically wildly talented,
yeah.
And they all are humble. If you noticed, they're all humble. They all love their dad, but they all have their own name.
Yep.
So it's a great reggae. Anyway, sorry, it's a great reggae family.
Yeah. So I was then started doing monthly shows at the Public House. There's a venue that was on Ferret Street. Super dope venue, no longer exists, but was doing these shows there. And all of a sudden, I booked a band, Michigan and Smiley, old school, one of the original dance hall artists from back in the 80s. And they were touring with 2 support acts. So I had basically 3 bands in one. Then a month out, Kabaka Pyramid, who now is established as one of the best lyricists in reggae, but then was an up-and-coming artist. I had helped him and his team get their visas. And so they hit me up and said, "Hey, Joel, last minute, like we had a show drop out. Do you have any room for us?" And the date they had was this date I already had a show. And they were touring with 2 other artists, Ibamar, and I forget who the other one was. So all of a sudden I had 6 acts. And I thought, let's throw a festival. So with a month lead time, got together 15 or so vendors and we shut down the parking lot outside. First year, we got out about 1,400 people, which at the time, it was a paid festival. I believe it was $10 to get in, which now is becoming more of a thing in New Orleans, but 14 years ago didn't exist. It was
Right.
either Jazz Fest, Essence Fest, Buku Fest, where you're paying $100 for a ticket, or free.
Or French Quarter Fest, which is free.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or everything else. Treme Fest,
Right,
Satsuma
right,
Fest,
right,
like
right,
literally
right,
every
right.
other fest, Po' Boy Fest.
Right.
And so people would, $10, what do I get with that? How many drinks? Do I get a plate? And like, no, you get awesome international music and a great vibe. So it was, having that pushback was interesting, but also I get it. If you're used to, for 20, 30, 40 years, having free events, so we looked at it as basically each person was sponsoring the event in $10 increments, because for reggae and Caribbean events, it's very difficult to get sponsorship.
Right.
For all sorts of reasons, some of which make sense, some of which I agree with, some of which I don't.
Right.
For example, at the public house, the monthly nights were on Tuesdays, our monthly reggae nights, pack the house, 600 people every time. But they would make less money at their bar than their Wednesday happy hour, because people who are coming to a reggae show might already be feeling a little irie.
Right.
They're babysitting a little water, maybe one red stripe.
Right.
And so, the venue loved it and they were great to work with, and I appreciated the relationship with them. They were very honest and open up front.
Business is business.
And I came up to them, as a young promoter, like, hey, I'm packing the house and let me get a bar percentage. And they're like, percentage of what?
Right.
And they showed me the numbers. So for me, that was eye-opening. And which also, the reason I was doing these reggae shows was not economic. For me, it was, the first few years was subsidized by my teaching salary when I would take a loss on shows. Some of them would make money, some would lose money, some would break even. But to me, it was important to really have reggae music and Caribbean music and culture in the city. So that's how we first started in 2013, I think, with the NOLA Caribbean Fest. And then one thing led to another and just kind of kept that rolling.
Awesome. Well, where did Raj come in?
So Raj and I have been homies for a while. 12 years, something like that, a long time.
What a great guy.
One of my favorite people in the city.
Yeah.
One of a lot of people's favorite people in the city.
Yep. I haven't met a Raj hater yet.
There you go. And if you do, there's probably something wrong with
If you do, there's something wrong with him. Yep. 100%.
So Raj was at the height of his powers, which, he has been for 3 decades now. But I had just started doing a twice-a-month event at the House of Blues called Audio Dope, which was a mix of reggae, dance hall, and like electronic music. And so a friend of mine, Blake Owens, New Orleans Most Wanted, he was kind of the bridge. He worked at House of Blues. He was a rapper, promoter, still is. And he actually runs Get Up and Ride, like big bike organization in the city.
Okay, gotcha.
So he knew Raj. And he had facilitated something to where, basically for Raj and I to meet and to give me a little guest spot during one of Raj's sets at the House of Blues. And so first of all, like knowing who Raj was in terms, going to college and listening to all the Squad Up mixtapes, I was like, oh shit, like Raj, cool. So met with him up in the foundation room at House of Blues, super chill and super humble, nice, kind. Usually if someone's going to put you on, do you a favor, it's going to be at the beginning of their set. When not that many people are there, the risk for them is low. He didn't know me. He didn't know my skills or not. And he put me on at the height of his set. The first time I didn't do so well, but he was very gracious about it. Instead of making me feel like, what are you doing? He like seamlessly came in, kept the party going, gave me another chance. And then, so from there, just me realizing like, oh, this is someone who had not every right, but could have been a dick in terms of just like where he was, looking down on someone who was a nobody, provided no value to him. So one that was...
Well, let's be real. He looks down on a lot of people because he's tall, but...
Fair enough. So definitely look down on me in that way. But so it was dope just keeping me humble at that point, or just having that memory going forward of like, oh, anytime I do reach any success of like always looking down and helping people who can't provide you with any benefit,
Right.
and just being a good person and helping people out. So that for me was, as soon when that happened, I was like, oh, like I like this guy. This guy's dope. Not only do I respect what he's done and what he is, but also who he is.
Right.
So from there, we just stayed cool. I think he appreciated. There weren't many people in my lane in terms of like doing big Caribbean events and that had been doing it for a long period of time. So he appreciated I would bring him on to the Caribbean events, and he's a music lover at the end of the day. So he would come and cut up. He wouldn't have too many opportunities otherwise to do reggae events or Caribbean events. We did like these monthly pool parties at the Drifter Hotel, Soca Cella, these monthly Soca events we were doing. And so he would come and just enjoy, have a good time doing new music, doing it to a new crowd. And it was the reaction of everyone was always like, who is this guy? He's amazing.
Right.
Because some of the Caribbean people might not have known
Right.
Raj.
Right.
And then they look, be like, oh shit. But also for someone who isn't in that culture, doesn't quote unquote know the music, but like he has such a good ear. So it was dope watching him just cut up at some of these events. So Raj and I just stayed close, built a relationship throughout the years of mutual respect. And then him and his team, and then him and I had some conversations about Smoove Fest over the years, and it was really cool to have that really manifest and come to fruition this year.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I love those guys. I mean, they're real legit NOLA Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You know, KLC, Raj, DJ Spin, like the guys that, because I honestly, like moving back, because I'm born and raised here, but I grew up kind of in Florida, South Florida, because I moved there sophomore year of high school. So I finished my years of high school, and then a bunch of years after that. But then I moved to LA for 9 years. So I hadn't been around here. I really wasn't entrenched in the music industry down here at all. But I'm born and raised here, and I'm coming back and visiting family, and I'm like, man, New Orleans has been forgotten about on an industry scale from everything that I've learned in LA about the music industry. So I was like, and I hated LA personally for personal reasons. I love it for what I needed it. I needed it. I will never hate on it, but I did not want to live there for the rest of my life. So I decided to move back. And when I decided to move back, I stumbled into the relationships with DJ Spin and Raj and these guys. And I realized, like, this is what I wanted to connect with in music as a whole, was guys that give a shit about music and don't care about the ego side of it. And everybody you meet in LA is not that,
Right.
And everybody you meet in that growing experience is not that, because everybody's trying to step on you or somebody else. And when I got here, it was like it immediately reminded me of why I needed to be back in New Orleans, just because of the acceptance of these guys who've been working for 20 years to build a name for themselves, if not more, and have a position in the city that are willing to just say, hey, go.
Yeah.
And that's not something that happens in everyday business.
Right.
So I appreciate those guys a lot. But Raj is on top.
And what you had mentioned about the New Orleans culture being so impactful, like foundational for a lot of other things around the country, but also not necessarily being recognized as such.
Right.
So I'm sure you talked to Raj about this when you had him on, the Gentilly agency that he started. And so that, in terms of providing that platform to really elevate New Orleans artists, musicians, and to bring them specifically, but New Orleans culture in general, to export it in a positive light around the country and around the world.
Right.
And so Smoove Fest was an outgrowth of that. And so Raj's name is in the festival, Smoove Fest, but it's not in the same way.
It's not about him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the idea is big enough.
I don't even know that, but I don't have to know that because I know Raj. It's not about him.
And he had, if you asked him, he would probably say he feels a little uncomfortable about it being that, but he also embraces the reality of the situation. And so Smoove Fest, the concept of it is to celebrate New Orleans hip hop culture from 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, through the lens of someone that had been at the forefront for the last 30 years, which is Raj Smoove.
Yep.
And Smoove Fest is just a dope name for a festival.
No, agreed. 100%. Well, we love our Cash Money here. Juvie's a tenant here, so we
nice.
love our Cash Money guys, and Silk was in my wedding, so we love our No Limit guys. So that whole 2000s era was honestly maybe our best era yet, as far as money making in the music industry. And we have not gotten back to that. I can't wait for a label building to be here because it's needed. We need our publicists. We need our marketing. We need to be our own Grammy chapter.
Right. That Gentilly Agency is trying to, and Raj, I'm sure, spoke more eloquently about it, but is trying to fill that gap.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, Reed and I have an argument about it at least once a month. Like, why are you in Memphis? And Reed Wick for the Grammy Association, but Raj is a big part of that. Like, we need guys like Raj and the guys that have been around for a while to advocate for this stuff, because the future of the creatives is in their hands in a sense.
So, New Orleans has been, is, and will be bubbling with creativity, but talent and creativity, from my experience, my hovering around music industry, is only a small portion.
It's 10 to 15% of the business.
Right.
Everything else is marketing and business administration.
And if you don't know, it's so complicated in terms of registering for ASCAP, getting your stuff on YouTube and iTunes Music and all this stuff. It's so complicated, but also to not know, but then also to not know where to find information. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so from my brief experience, my brother and I had produced some reggae songs, one of which was actually recorded at Raj's studio, live instrumental. That was dope. But getting them registered and all that stuff was an absolute nightmare, and it took the joy out of why we were doing it.
It's a different side of the brain.
Exactly.
It's a different side of the brain.
Right.
And I ride both as much as I can, but I am much more a creator than I am a business administrator, and it literally takes all of the creation out of me when I have to wear the business administration cap. So like these guys will know, like I'll disappear for a couple weeks, and it's because I'm being creative and doing stuff. And then they'll see me for a couple weeks, and it's because I'm doing business administration stuff. Right. It's because it's a different side of the brain. I cannot do the creation stuff. I've got to separate it.
Right.
And I feel like most people they don't have the not the ability, but they don't have the time to separate. So they have to either hire someone and do either side.
And that's where I think Gentilly Agency's uniquely positioned. Raj coming from music, his father being a legendary music teacher, Raj being a musician himself, and then but also being a pro for 3 decades. So when he brings artists into his orbit, those artists are not only getting someone who understands where they're coming from creatively, but also who can say, hey, you got to tighten up here, and can also tighten up for them,
right? And
kind of work both sides of the brain.
I agree.
And not just Raj, obviously it's always a village. His team is awesome, some of whom I had a pleasure of working with for Smoove Fest. Amanda, who I think also was.
Yep.
Kyle, shout out Kyle's got an album release tomorrow.
Awesome.
And Celeste, who's awesome. She was the stage manager at Smoove Fest.
Okay.
So it was a pleasure working with their whole team as well.
That's awesome. No, and it takes a team. You can't do this stuff by yourself, especially a festival.
Right.
Especially a festival. Well, so obviously plans for next year, right?
Yes. So this year we planned it on the same night as 2 established free events, which was White Linen Night and Smoove Fest.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it was on purpose, but we did know what we were doing. It's New Orleans. There's going to be competition no matter what weekend you pick. So in hindsight, we're glad that we did it those weekends, because it showed proof of concept that even going up against these established free events, we still held our own and still threw a dope event that was meaningful to a lot of people.
White Linen, I feel like it's getting stale anyway. I said it.
You said it.
I said it.
I've heard it from
on the
some other
mic.
people.
I've said it.
But we wish them success. Moving
100%.
forward, we probably will schedule on a different weekend. But we are glad we did it this time to prove to ourselves that this is a dope event that's here to stay. But the most important thing was I went to the bank yesterday, and one of the bankers there who I know and am friendly with, she came to Smoove Fest. And she came out and at the bank, shook my hand, looked me, and I was like, thank you so much. Just how meaningful it was to her from growing up in New Orleans and the nostalgia. And so that's a lot of the feedback we got was that just thank you. Right. It was not only was fun and people cut up, but it meant something to them.
Right.
And I've done events that are fun and sometimes are profitable, but it's just like, it's a fun event. Mm-hmm. And that's cool. But I've also done events, NOLA Reggae Fest, NOLA Caribbean Experience, Smoove Fest, that really mean something to people. And we got one coming up at the same beautiful venue at Broadside, Savor the City, which is a food-focused event which puts cash back in the pockets of chefs and highlights how difficult it is for restaurants to run a restaurant in New Orleans, and especially during the summer. So that's another one we're excited about, and that means something. But yeah, Smoove Fest will be coming back next year, bigger and better. And yeah, we're excited.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, maybe next year we can be somewhat there. We can do something to sponsor you guys.
Dope.
And maybe we can do a raffle and auction off some studio time or something.
Cool.
Do something fun. And because I'd love to love you guys. And,
appreciate that.
And I appreciate the culture push. 100%.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, do you want to tell anybody your socials and where they can find the fest and what to look forward to for next year?
I don't have any socials, but Paradigm Gardens, you can check out.
Just say it in Spanish. Nobody will understand it.
At Paradigm, PARADIGM _gardens. That's our outdoor venue. So we have goats, produce. We have a wood fire, oven, and grill, stage for live music. We do events out there. Also check out at NOLA Reggae Fest. That's coming up October 24, 25, 26 at the historic Congo Square. Check out at Smoove Fest NOLA. And then also at Savor the City. That one's coming up August 28th. Great event for a great cause. And yeah.
Awesome.
So appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. Look forward to the goat empanadas.
Hell yeah. Funny you say that. Quick shout out. Our goat yoga instructor, Jimena Urrutia, also boss lady and entrepreneur. She owns and runs Empanola. Awesome empanada spot.
Yeah.
Don't mention goat empanadas. She won't be happy.
But I only bring it up because I had them at the Argentinian place right there on where Chapatula split. It's going back the other way. I forget the name of it now. It was an Argentinian steak place right down
La
downtown.
Boca?
Yeah, La Boca. Thank you. Yeah, they had goat empanadas
Adolfo,
for
man,
a special.
I have to talk to them.
Yeah,
they weren't our goats.
They weren't your goats?
No.
All right. Well, I don't feel so bad anymore.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for coming, man. I appreciate you coming by and spending the time with us. And
thank you.
Appreciate everything you do in the city. So
appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. And please check out next year's Raj Smoove Fest or Smoove Fest or anything these guys do, because it's worthwhile to get out and enjoy the city and enjoy the culture. So thank you, guys. And if you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.